So to start with, I just want to show a little about the setup. Here is my CoCo 3. Found this on Facebook Marketplace. Got a good deal for it, which was great. You can see also I have a mechanical keyboard and got an mini MPI plugged into it along with a CoCo SDC. I'm actually a pretty big customer of Ed Snyder's, I guess you could say. The cables here are going under the desk, so there's a couple of extra ones here. These are actually for a Commodore 64 that I've been experimenting with also. But we've got the got an RGB cable. All this is going under the desk, which gets a lot uglier under there. But the RGB cable is plugged into a SCART to HDMI upscaler. Then there's an HDMI capture card, and I have all that going into the Windows PC here. So Windows PC, I've got the windows pulled up here, so we'll get into that in a minute. I've got a Bandicam window where I have the CoCo 3 coming in. And I've actually been using DriveWire on the CoCo Pi. So I have a few terminal windows pulled up where I am just SSH'd into the CoCo Pi. And I'll talk about all that in a minute. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick tour and show you the CoCo 3. Okay, I want to talk about the windows that I have open here. First we have the Bandicam window here, and this is just doing a HDMI capture from the CoCo 3. Over here, because I've been using my CoCo Pi for DriveWire, I have a terminal window here where I'm SSH'd into the CoCo Pi. I have 3 more windows down here which are also shelled into the CoCo Pi. I'm just running watch commands on a few things. I'll talk more about them as we get through this, but the first one here is, this is just running a watch on what DriveWire currently has mounted. This one is showing the contents of one of the disk images, a particular directory, the basic directory where I store programs. This one is just like a hard drive image, so I've just got some, just a few directories there. This is where I'm going to start, and I just want to talk about some of the tools that I'm going to be using first. And the first one is, I have a shortcut for DriveWire. So if I type alias DW, I'm using the pyDriveWire CLI quite a bit, and so I just made an alias so that it points to my DriveWire instance, and it's just DW. So now if I say DW disk show, it shows me all of the images which are currently mounted, and as it's going to echo what is shown down here in this window. So now if I want to look at what images I have available, I'll say just list the disk images, and there's actually going to be a hard drive one as well. So I'm going to say DW disk insert 1, OS9 disk 1. Okay, so I made a mistake here. I do need to use the full path, so I'm going to say like this. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and do another image as well. I'm going to get that hard drive image that I talked about a minute ago. So that's HD2. Okay. Now, same thing if I do DW disk show. It's showing that I have all of those images mounted. All right, so now next tool I want to talk about is Toolshed. Toolshed provides a couple of commands. One's called OS9. This is for working with OS9 disk images. There's another one called DECB. We're not going to use that one much here today, but that allows you to work with RS-DOS disk images. So for OS9, if I look at its commands, and one in particular, the copy command, and this is one I'll be using here shortly, you can see the options that it has. Syntax is, not obvious the first time you use it, but once you get used to it, it's not so bad. This is a very important option here, this -L, perform end of line translation. Need to make sure we do that anytime we're copying files to the CoCo 3 from the Pi and vice versa, just because the line endings are different. And DECB copy is also similar in that it has that end of line translation. This one has an extra option for the basic token translation, because when you save a file in RS-DOS, like a basic file, and you know, if you have the print command, it's not actually going to save it as print in the file. It's changing it to some sort of token. And then when you copy the file over, if you don't use this -T option, then you just get, you know, whatever token junk that is instead of getting the actual print command. So, and especially it's important going back the other way. So if you edit a file here on the Pi, then when you copy it back, you want to make sure you use that option. All right. Okay. Now that we've talked about what tools we're going to use, I'm going to go ahead and get the CoCo up and running with NitroOS 9. So I'll use my SDC loader. Go down here to OS, NitroOS 9, and I want to use the easy use image. All right, so that's going to boot up, and we just got to wait a minute for it to come online. So one thing to point out here, you can see it recognized DriveWire was present, recognized the CoCo SDC as well. The easy use image is going to actually open some other windows too, which is kind of handy for, you know, just showing different things on the CoCo. So wait for it, almost done here. Okay, now that it's done, I'm going to go over and kind of show, just by pressing the clear key on the CoCo, the other windows that have been opened up. So I'm going to go into this second one here, and first thing I want to do is I want to do DWDistStrow. The CoCo actually has a DriveWire command available to it, so I can use the same commands that I've been using on the Pi. You can see that the same images are mounted, the OS 9 disk 1 that I mounted before and the HD2. So what I want to do now is I want to CD into where that OS 9 disk 1 image is, and that's actually going to be mounted at /x1. If I do directory there, you can see that it's got a few files on there. I'm going to CD in the basic, and the case doesn't matter. So if I dir, then, okay. One thing of note here is that the directory is converted in echo char, and that matches what I have down here in this window. All right, so now what I want to do is open up Basic 09, and I'm going to edit a program, call it hello. All right, so it gave me the header, procedure hello. Now I need to, when I'm typing basic commands, you have to start with a space, and that lets it know that you're entering a line. Otherwise, if I just type print without doing a space, then it thinks that you're trying to do an editor command. So that's actually a mistake I make quite often. But I'm just going to say print hello world, and if I do list star, that shows me my whole program. So I need to quit out of the editor. If I want here, I can type list from here, and I can save it as hello. All right. Now notice down here in my window where I'm showing the directory contents of OS 9 disk 1, you notice that hello has now popped up. So I can also do this from Basic 09. That'll show me the contents of the directory. If I say bye, let's clear the screen, get rid of the stuff. Same thing, hit dir. Okay, now we can see that we've got hello. All right, let's go back into Basic 09. I want to load hello. We're going to list it. We'll run it, make sure it actually runs properly. Hello world, that's what we wanted. Now let's pack it. Now this is going to compile it, and it's going to save it as a program called hello and put it in the executable directory. All right, that was fast. So let's go back here and let's clear the screen. If I just type hello. All right, took a little time because it's not loaded in memory, but you can see it did what we wanted. So hello world. All right, so now we've done that, let's get out of this, and let's say I want to make a second program, and I want to call it goodbye. Now I can go back into Basic 09 and do the same thing I just did. And it's fine because these are, two live programs. If you start doing anything where you're working on a longer program, and if you're like me and you're not comfortable in the Basic 09 editor, but you're more comfortable, say, in an editor like Vim, then here's something we can do. So I want to go into the, I'm at the CoCo Pi prompt here. We'll do OS9 dir, OS9 disk 1, disk. Okay, shows me the contents of that disk. And now I want to do basic. You can type it this way if you want, but the case actually doesn't matter. The uppercase is just there. It's kind of a convention with OS9 that you put your directory names in all caps, but it's not actually necessary. So I can see that I have hello, convert, and echo char. Now I want to grab that hello command. So I'm going to say OS9 copy. Let's do that. OS9 copy / hello. And I want to copy it to, I made a temp folder on here earlier, so I'm going to call it temp. All right, so now if I cd into temp, all right, got hello. Now let's cat hello. Now I can already think of one mistake that I made. I forgot to use the -L for the line endings. So let's remove this file. And let's go back up here. I'm going to do the -L. All right, now let's go back into temp. And now we can see that it's looks the way we want it to. So very important to remember that command line option. I think probably at some point I'm going to make an alias command so that I don't have to remember to type that every time. But now what I want to do is I want to make a program called goodbye. So I'm just going to copy hello to goodbye. And I'm going to open that up in Vim. And I'm going to name it procedure goodbye and goodbye world. Actually, that sounds a little dark. Let's do that. We'll just say goodbye. I'll give it an exclamation point at the end also. Okay, now if I cat that file, goodbye. Okay, looks good. So let's go back into our image. So this time I'm going to copy the other way. I'm going to remember the -L option this time. So I'm going to say copy -L from the temp folder goodbye to the OS9 disk basic / goodbye. Okay. All right. Now notice down here in my window that's showing the programs in that basic directory, you can see the goodbye has shown up. So that's good. So now if I say OS9 dir, OS9 disk, same thing there. But if I say basic, I can see that I've got my program there. Okay. Now let's go back in here to my terminal window. And I'm just going to type dir and let's see what happens. Okay, it's shown up. So one thing that I've run into with this since I've started experimenting with it is sometimes the file isn't showing up immediately. And what I did for that as a workaround is I made a little shortcut called refresh x1. There we go. And all that does is, well, I'll put it somewhere. Maybe it's just refresh x1. Okay, so yes, that's what it was. Refresh x1 is just touching a file in the temp directory. So by doing that, it seems to refresh the image on the CoCo side, and that way my file changes come through immediately. But this time, because I was talking after writing the file, that gave it time to show up. So and then if I list goodbye here on the CoCo, you can see that it looks the way we want to. All right, so let's go into Basic 09. We're going to load goodbye, list it, run it. All right, looks good. Now let's pack it. All right, that's all very fast. That's nice. Okay, back in the CoCo here, and I'm sorry, my first CoCo window. I'm just going to type goodbye. And there we go. So that kind of did what we wanted, and that you know, kind of it's kind of a clunky demonstration because I'm working with two-line programs. But again, if you're doing something longer and you want a way to work with what you're comfortable with, and for me, yeah, I'm very comfortable working with Linux command line, working with Vim as my editor, and this could be VS Code or whatever you like as well. But just being able to move the files back and forth between the CoCo and whatever your modern machine is. So it's really nice, and these are great tools. Definitely want to give a shout out to the authors, whose names unfortunately I can't remember right now, but I'll put that in the video description. And hope you enjoyed this. Do plan on making another video in the future where I kind of show how to do this from scratch. So the CoCo Pi installation I'm using here is probably, I think, 6-8 months old, and I know they've made a new version since then. So I think what I'll do with the next video is start with a new installation and show how I do the DriveWire setup from scratch. And that is all that I have. So thank you, and I will talk to you soon.